So recently, if you have been following the latest AI related news, then you must have heard about the fact that the homework and solutioning platform Chegg lost almost 50% in their share market value last week. And what was the reason that they mentioned? They mentioned that more than 85% of their users, which are actually students, are now opting for ChatGPT for their homework and solutioning purpose. And of course, you will see a lot of videos on the internet, on YouTube, which are going to mention a lot of things that is ChatGPT going to replace humans or is ChatGPT going to replace programmers? A lot of buzz around it, right? But technically, in this video, we are going to look at the brighter side. We are going to look at the fact that how you can actually use ChatGPT in order to aid your day-to-day work, and how we can actually use the power of ChatGPT to maybe improve on a lot of things. As a programmer, ChatGPT can help us to do a lot of things, starting from cleaning up your code to maybe figuring out bugs from complex logic. You will see that a lot of people are using it for answering interview questions and everything. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but I believe as a software engineer, we can have more complex use case that we can actually try to get help from ChatGPT, right? And in this video, that's going to be our agenda. We are going to see multiple interesting prompts that we can ask ChatGPT, and we will see how it reacts. It might not give us the best solution in first shot, then we will try to improve it on its solution. And that will give you a good perspective that how you could have also used ChatGPT as a software engineer who is maybe aspiring to become a software engineer, or you're already working as a software engineer, and complete your day-to-day task, help take the help of ChatGPT in your day-to-day task. Or maybe let's say if you are trying to applying for some upcoming roles, you are applying for some upcoming internships or any scholarships or grants, then how you can actually improve your profile. For example, how you can improve your resume, how you can tailor your resume according to that particular profile. All of these things we are actually going to talk about. So this is going to be pretty informative and a brighter side video, because I'm going to actually talk about the fact that how we as humans can take the help of ChatGPT instead of figuring out that is it going to replace us, how we can actually improve our productivity using ChatGPT. So without any further delay, let's just start. And I highly recommend all of you to watch the video till the end. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, this might be a good time to subscribe to the channel. We are going to bring some really interesting content in front of you regarding the tech and the software industry. So without any further delay, let's just start and let's see what things ChatGPT can really do for us. So before we move forward, I would like to tell you about AlgoCamp.io. So if you are someone who is willing to learn programming from scratch in, let's say, Java or JavaScript, right? Or if you are someone who is preparing for their interviews, then AlgoCamp.io can be one-stop solution for you, right? You can see on AlgoCamp.io, there are a bunch of courses regarding data structures and algorithms in JavaScript. So let's say if you are a front-end engineer who is aspiring to become a front-end engineer and preparing for interviews where you will be asked questions in DSA and the main language that you use is JavaScript, then this can be a really good course for you. Apart from that, you can see there is a dedicated course on mastering Java with backend in Java in Spring Boot along with system design, right? You can see all of the concepts regarding basic Java, then data structures and algorithms in Java, and tons of problem solving is actually present there. You can see more than 400 problems you are going to solve in this particular batch. There is going to be more than 300 hours of hybrid content. Some content will be coming recorded, some content will be coming live. You can see we are going to talk about all of the important data structures, including segment trees, heaps, graph algorithms, dynamic programming, all of the things. Apart from that, there will be additional computer science fundamentals like computer networks and database management system as well, right? Apart from that, there will be dedicated lectures on Spring Boot, that how you can actually make good backend applications with Spring Boot. And there are going to be more than 10 projects that you are going to do actually in this particular batch. You are also going to be introduced with low-level design, with different design patterns, as well as high-level design, where we will talk about problems like how you can design a system like Uber, or how you can design something like URL shortener and whatnot. You can see the price of the course is 4,200, and this is something that we have kept very affordable. And in fact, if you will use the coupon code AlgoCamp500, you will get 500 instant off on this particular course. You can see the instructors for the course is Ria Bansal, who is actually a software engineer at Microsoft. She has previously worked with Flipkart. I'm also going to assist her in this particular course. So you can see the mentor side of the course is totally sorted. The price we have kept is very competitive, considering that you are going to learn data structures and algorithms, system design with design patterns and high level design, as well as backend development in Java. Right, so this is one power packed course that you can definitely opt for. So you can check out AlgoCamp.io for more such interesting stuff. I have made a dedicated video on what you can expect with this Java course and overall in AlgoCamp.io. You should definitely check out that. I will link all of the things in the description section below. So don't forget to actually check that out. And now let's just move forward with our current video. So what can happen is a lot of time you might be struggling with some bug, right? You are spending almost an hour or two and you're not able to resolve a particular bug, right? Then in those cases, ChatGPT can be really helpful to you. Now I'm going to give a pretty interesting bug to ChatGPT. It's not going to be very simple. It's not going to be very complex. It's something that you can definitely face in some development task. If let's say you are developing something with Node.js and MongoDB, right? So what I have done is I have prepared a prompt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give ChatGPT this particular prompt. So in this prompt, what I'll ask ChatGPT to do is I'll give ChatGPT a piece of code and I'll ask ChatGPT to actually figure out some bugs from it. So here you can see in this prompt, I have said that I have this Mongoose model where I'm trying to prepare schema for a user, but the pre-hook, so in Mongoose, there is something called as hook, on which I'm trying to encrypt the password is not working as intended. It is not encrypting the password. Can you please debug this? Right. So I've pasted this whole Mongoose schema. You can see this is the whole Mongoose schema, right? And I have prepared a user schema. There is a bug in this piece of code. Here, this particular function, that is user schema.pre, this is a hook. The callback of this hook is actually an arrow function. And in JavaScript, the arrow function doesn't get this directly, right? The this inside arrow function is actually resolved lexically. So the this that is actually mentioned here is not going to refer to the user object, which is actually going to call this function before save, right? Because that functionality is with your normal functions, not with your arrow functions. So let's see JavaScript, this bug of JavaScript, whether ChatGPT is able to detect or not. The moment I press enter, let's see. So it says that the issue with your code seems to be that you are using an arrow function for the pre-hook. Arrow function do not bind this, as I said, keyword, which is why the this inside the arrow function refers to the enclosing context and not the Mongoose user instance. To fix this issue, you should use a regular function instead of an arrow function for the pre-hook. Thus, this will ensure that this refers to Mongoose user instance. Here's the updated code look like. So you can see it has replaced the arrow function with this normal function, and trust me, this code is now absolutely fine, right? So you can see ChatGPT definitely helped us to actually figure out bugs in development tasks as well, right? And this is going to be super cool, right? Now I will ask ChatGPT to actually clean up something. So writing clean code is also something that is very necessary for us, right? Most of the time you will see that software developers don't write very clean code and they struggle during their review process as well. So what we are going to do is we are now going to ask ChatGPT to clean up a code, and let's see how good, what kind of work it actually does, right? So let me actually bring the prompt in front of you for the corresponding check, right? So now let's put our second prompt. So here you can see I said ChatGPT that can you make this function more clean, and I have written a function, right? It's already pretty good, but there are a few nitpicks that I am directly able to see, and let's see whether ChatGPT is actually able to resolve it or not. So let's see. You can see it says that here is a cleaner version of update rating, right? Let's see what it does. So what I can directly see is that it has removed try catch. I already binded this function in a bunch of try catch. It has removed it. Let's see what it does, right? And looks like it is doing pretty good stuff here. And here I actually introduced a var new rating inside the if block and else block so that it becomes a function scope. But you can see it has actually replaced that with let and is now using this let variable in the new rating here as well as here, right? Okay, so I can see there are a few things that it did. For example, use async function in syntax instead of arrow function for consistency with the async usage inside the function, right? So it is recommending that we should use the normal function. I totally agree to that, right? Remove the try catch block and replace it with a throw statement for more explicit error handling. This is also pretty good, but you can already see that I already had this throw statement, right? So this looks good because if I'm throwing from my code already and if I have binded it inside try catch, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? And now you can see simplified the calculation of total booking count by chaining the dot length property on the get book total booking promise. This also looks good. So I believe here I was doing it in two variables. It has actually done it in a single variable. This looks good to me, right? Refactored the if else block for updating the book rating and user rating. The common code is extracted out and the specific code is moved into the branch of the block. This is also good. Used promise.all to execute multiple await. Okay, let's see. So here you can see it is using promise.all to execute multiple awaits, and that actually makes sense. You don't need to separately await for user rating and separately await for this update call. You can actually use promise.all, so this will actually parallelly happen, and that's pretty good, I must say, right? And you can see it created a new object, new user rating, to hold the user rating data which is passed in the add user rating. So this looks definitely good to me, and it has done a bunch of good cleanup stuff. What it could have done more is this update call is actually happening inside if else, if as well as else also. So maybe one step could have been to refactor it out of if else and put it after if else. But even combining this inside promise.all is really very good. So I believe like this is doing pretty good stuff in terms of cleaning your code as well. And you can see the power of ChatGPT, right? So instead of using ChatGPT to solve your lead code question, you can actually make your coding implementation, your functions a bit more clean. You can write cleaner code, you can get recommendations, and that's how you can actually improve as a software developer. Because now next time when you will be writing a similar piece of code, you will be actually using these methods, and you will yourself realize that okay, this is a better way to actually execute these kind of stuff. So now we have seen some technical stuff with ChatGPT, right? Now let's see whether ChatGPT can actually help us in order to improve our resume or not. So while I was working with LinkedIn, I worked on different projects in the enterprise provisioning team, and I generally mention about that in my resume as well. So I am going to bring all those pointers from my resume, and I'm going to give a prompt to ChatGPT to improve those pointers to some compelling language and measurable metrics as well. So I'm going to give ChatGPT this prompt that rewrite these bullet points by using more impactful and compelling language that shows some measurable metrics and can be put in my resume. Make sure you write bullet points only, right? So let's see whether it writes, because I'm already giving it bullet points only. So let's see whether it does or not. I have already written some metric analysis. For example, there was a job slot product admin API for changing amount granted and left allocations, which I implemented, which reduced the on-call debugging effort time from 3 days to less than an hour. So already I have added a bunch of things around the metrics, and nowadays everybody knows that in resume you need to write measurable and metric based things. So let's see how ChatGPT can improve it on another level. So let's send this prompt to ChatGPT and let's see what happens. So it's analyzing, and it says significantly contributed to the development of LinkedIn enterprise provisioning application using Java, RESTly and Ember.js, resulting in improved efficiency and functionality. Looks good. Played a key role on the LSS to UPP migration, delivering features such as pre-ordering system and business logic failure handling, provision monitoring, recovery cycle, and the grant of LSS product to via CAP. Spearheaded the development of LLS service with a provisioning workflow coupled with SFDC and Dynamics, providing advanced functionality for handling use case such as cancellation before grant, adding new RESTly endpoints for accounts with Linda migration status, and case creation failure alerts. Streamlined the job slot product admin RESTly API for changing the amount granted and left allocation, reducing the on-call job slot debugging time from 3 days to less than an hour. Right. So you can see it has already converted it to a bit more better language, because everywhere I used working or worked these kind of words. So it has actually improved these particular pointers as well. Now what I'll do is I'll just take the last pointer. Can you make this point more measurable and impactful with respect to a resume? That resume of a software engineer, right? Let's give it more context. So the more context you give ChatGPT, the better it does, right? Let's see what it writes now. You can see optimize the job slot product admin RESTly APIs, resulting a 99% reduction in on-call job slot debugging time from 3 days to less than an hour by improving the process for changing the amount granted and left allocations. This significantly enhanced the overall efficiency and productivity of the system, leading to improved customer satisfaction and increased revenue. So you can see how in a very good way it is actually improving your pointers, and a lot of students actually struggle in writing good impactful points in your resume. You can see it can actually help you with that as well. So this is something really very cool that you as a software engineer or an aspiring software engineer can use ChatGPT for. So now what we are going to do with ChatGPT is that we are going to write, like I have copied a job description from Netflix careers, and I'm going to give ChatGPT that job description, and I will ask ChatGPT to figure out 10 most important keywords that someone should put in their resume if they are applying to this particular job role. Okay, so give me 10 most impactful keywords that one should put in their resume before applying to a job role whose job description is something like this. Okay, and let's give the job description. Okay, I've pasted the whole job description here. Let's press enter. Okay, you can see this is the whole job description that I actually brought from Netflix. Let's see what it does. So you can see it is actually giving us some keywords: observability, engineering, real-time data processing, API design and development, scalable, resilient distributed systems, HTTP and GraphQL APIs, Java and other JVM languages, product feature ownership, diversity and inclusion. So you can see it's actually helping us to figure out all the key pointers from this particular job role. And you can actually use it for a lot of things. For example, you can ask ChatGPT to actually prepare a cover letter for you based on your resume and the job description that you are applying to. So you can feed all of the details of your of your current resume to ChatGPT, right? And then you can actually feed the job description as well, for which you have to write the cover letter. It will write the cover letter for you, right? A lot of times people actually feel that how can they message someone on LinkedIn for referrals. You can actually ask ChatGPT based on your resume to prepare a very concise message for you that you can actually use in order to send that particular message to people and ask for referrals. So actually in this new modern world, you can actually use tools like ChatGPT for making yourself more productive and actually preparing yourself for the upcoming journey that is going to be full with AI, where AI is going to be an aid to you rather than you thinking about whether AI can replace me or not. Rather than think about how you can use the power of these AI to actually help yourself. This is going to be super cool, and this is going to be super important that you definitely need to understand. And I would highly recommend you guys to try to find more innovative ways to use ChatGPT so that you can improve your profile and learn more things. Now, one last prompt that I would like to show you that I'm going to ask ChatGPT is that, let's say, what are the top 15 hard questions on React.js that one should revise if they have an interview tomorrow? Something like this. Okay, let's say you have an interview for, let's say, React.js for a front-end role, right? And you can actually ask ChatGPT that what are some of the most hard questions that someone can actually ask you in an interview. ChatGPT will analyze things itself and actually give you some recommendations. So let's see what actually ChatGPT gives us. What's the difference between virtual DOM and real DOM? Of course, a very famous question. What is JSX in React? Very famous questions, right? Higher order components is generally very frequently asked. Control component based questions are generally asked. The use of keys. A lot of people use keys in React, but they don't understand that why keys are actually used. So you can see it's giving us some really good recommendations that you can actually go for, right? So if you're revising for an upcoming interview, you can actually chat GPT for actually helping you with that. And in fact, you can actually ask chat GPT for some resources to learn React. For example, what are some of the best React resources to learn, right? And you will realize that it is going to give you a bunch of recommendations. You can even ask ChatGPT that tell me the roadmap to learn React.js. It is going to step by step tell you that what you should learn first, what you should learn second. It will also recommend you a bunch of projects that you can actually get, right? So I'm going to make a dedicated video on some of the project recommendations from ChatGPT for your different tech stacks. So I know a lot of people are very much interested in mobile development, backend, front end. So we will spend a good amount of time in actually understanding things from ChatGPT, that what can be some good impactful project that are going to be important for learning, and that can be distinguishable in your resume as well. So these kind of things actually you can ask ChatGPT. You can see it is giving us so many good resources that actually are available. It is also referring to some paid platforms, some free platforms. Everything is actually it is recommending. So it's really very powerful. So I believe that if you have not yet started using ChatGPT like this, and you are still using ChatGPT for making assignments or answering lead code questions, then definitely you are not leveraging the power of this AI. So I believe that you guys got a good perspective on how you can actually efficiently use AI tools like ChatGPT. So I would highly recommend you guys to actually figure out more prompts like these that can actually help you to improve your overall day-to-day life. You will be having a lot of tasks that can be automated using these AI tools, starting from debugging to cleaning up your code to actually recommending you tutorials and articles to giving you roadmaps and whatnot. I'll be making some more videos on ChatGPT where I'll be dedicatedly just focusing on how you can actually tailor your whole resume starting from the very scratch to the very end just by using ChatGPT. It's going to be an interesting video to go for. So stay tuned for that. And if you really like this particular video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the channel. It's going to help you. It's going to help us in actually supporting all of these things. And don't forget to actually drop a like. That is going to mean a lot for us. And if you have a similar I would say suggestion that we should make more videos on similar topics, do drop your suggestions in the comment section below. We would be happy to actually accommodate that. Don't forget to check algocamp.io. We are going to meet soon in some next set of videos where we'll talk about some more interesting stuff in tech and software world. Till that time, I'm Sanket Singh signing off.